Hey there, everybody. Matt Carter here.
And Jessica Carter from CARTERMATT.com.
Welcome to Tiva Therapy, and otherwise known as our NCIS Season 17, Episode 11 reaction. This is what having expectations does. Well, let's just start with that, because at the end of last season, I had no expectations that I would see Ziva at all.
Yeah, I didn't have any expectations, and because of what they pulled off, I was all in on all kinds of lies I've told myself.
See, this is what happens when you start to dream too big. You think the Tiva reunion's gonna happen and Tony's gonna show up.
How are they gonna lead us down this path? We're gonna talk about the reunion for this entire time, and then no reunion? I'm salty.
Well, everyone is salty. I have to even think that that CBS may be salty. Like, somebody may have just poured a ring of salt around that I logo. Like, it's not a good time. I mean, I think I don't want to take away from what I think is a really good episode. I think the problem is in knowing that it was the last episode for Code A in advance, and I think if we didn't know that, it would have been easier to enjoy what I do think was a good episode. But having that in our head while watching it, to me, it did sort of take away from a lot of the emotional moments with Ziva and all the members of the team, because I was like, okay, are we going to get to Tony? Are we going to get... And that was the only thing in my head the whole time.
That was what was happening with me the entire episode, and it does suck because it's almost like... I've said this before in another video, and I'm going to say it again. It's almost like The Walking Dead and that Morgan episode, where the episode before was, it looked like Glenn was dead and that he had been eaten by zombies, and then the next episode we get is a complete episode all about Morgan, and people hated it, and nobody gave it a chance, and nobody wanted anything to do with it, and it was one of the best episodes of that show. I'm not saying this is one of the best episodes of the show. I'm just saying that was one of the best episodes of the show, but nobody cared because only we wanted to know what happened to Glenn. And that's what happened to me in this. I was like, okay, here we go. I'm ready for this. There is no way that they have led me down this yellow brick road to bring me to no reunion. They have mentioned it too many times to not show it to me. Too many times. So I felt like it had to happen, and I spent the entire episode being like, okay, all right. I know they're going to save it till the end of this episode. It's not going to happen till after they get Finn, and she says goodbye to everybody, and then that elevator door opened, and I was like,
you totally thought it was going to be Tony.
I did.
Hey, guys.
I did. I felt my heart come up into my throat. I'm like, it's happening. It's happening. It's happening.
And then it's just Gibbs.
And then it's Gibbs. I'm like, oh no. And then I looked at the time. I'm like, oh, it's not happening.
I think this is the problem, is that...
And it took away from the episode a little bit, as you were saying, that because I was waiting for the whole episode for Tony, that I was missing how good this episode actually was.
And this is what makes this also problematic, because Ziva's obviously a great character separate from Tony, and she has all these sort of interesting and fascinating things about her. But in also telling a story that long form has been all about her and Tony reuniting with Tali as the driving force of it, you do sort of plant that seed. You create that expectation that you're going to see it.
That was an entire field of flowers this point. They mentioned it every single episode. All she wants is to be reunited. You couldn't even have her be reunited with Tali? Nothing?
Well,
just a video? What?
I think the problem with the Tali thing is he's going to bring out the kid, and it's going to be like, where's Dad? She's going to be like, where's Dad? And then was Tony going to be in the car outside? It had to be both, or it had to be neither one of them.
No, I disagree. I feel like at the very least you could have found a way to give me at least her daughter. Nothing, no reunion.
Well,
and what sucks is now that we do know that this is the end, how do you bring this reunion in later unless it's in some sort of flashback? I feel robbed. It's not going to happen.
I think this is where it gets tricky, right? Because, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, so I should start here with this. That I feel like this was all schedule based. Like we tried to come up with as many creative ideas as possible to get Michael Weatherly back on the show. We talked about maybe he could have filmed something over the holidays. Maybe Ziva could have gone to New York, or they could have made New York look like Paris. That way he didn't have to travel because he's on Bull. But he is the star of that show, and he's in a vast majority of scenes on that show.
And that show does film across the country, and it's difficult to break away from that schedule, and I get it.
Yeah, that's probably the reason why this doesn't happen. But then we get to that problem that kind of you alluded to, which is, presumably Ziva's not on the next episode. So with that in mind, if you were to bring them back down the road, the reunion would have already happened, months before that, because NCIS kind of, with a few exceptions, tonight's episode kind of included, it's always in real time. They're not really ever just slowing things down to a crawl.
No, and it is in real time. That's why, we'll have the Christmas episode at Christmas, and it starts to feel going into summer, when it's the end. It does feel in real time, so I don't know how you somehow fit in that reunion that would have been at another time while time is moving forward. It feels like there is no way to put that in, and that at the most that we would ever get, but now I just feel salty and I don't know. That we would ever get is maybe them coming back together as a family. But I don't think that's going to be satisfying to anyone. It's not going to be satisfying to me because I was led on a journey to get to a reunion. And the reunion is the thing that I want to see, not necessarily them together after the reunion. I want to see them together after the reunion, but I wanted to see the reunion.
I have an idea.
Okay.
What if next
episode... Does it involve a lot of wine and chocolate tonight? Because that's happening. I'm drowning in it tonight.
That's a different idea. This idea, what if Tony's got a buddy in Paris we don't know about, and Tony gets his buddy, because he knows Ziva's coming, to record their reunion, and then they video message it to Gibbs, and then we see it on next episode. This isn't perfect, but I'm spitballing here as to try to come up with an idea.
That is weak sauce. If that comes out and that's what they do, and they send us a video of their reunion, I'm not having that. I'm not into that.
Please don't dislike this video for my terrible ideas. I have better ones. So, okay. Here's another one.
Okay, here's a better one.
This is slightly better. Okay.
Slightly better than a video. All right.
I don't think it's going to be in the 400th episode because Bull's still probably going to be filming that.
Well, also, Stephen Frank did tell us that they are looking at possibly focusing on the two characters who have been there since the beginning, which is Gibbs and Ducky. So if that's the case, then... Personally, I don't want it to just be jammed in there with that. If you're going to give me something, at this point, you better give me something. And it better have weight. It can't be a video or jammed in between Gibbs and Ducky.
Okay, here's the good idea. So, the finale for this season. What if, because NCIS does more episodes a season than Bull does. So, presumably, Bull will probably be done filming earlier than NCIS will. What if the finale is that it requires a few NCIS team members to go to Paris, and you get to see some characters meet up with Tony and Ziva. They work on a case together, and then at the start of the episode, you can flash back and you can show that reunion, give that a couple of minutes, and then you sort of flash back to the present, and I think it would work within that context. That's all I got.
It's still not as good as actually just giving us what the build-up was. This was a lot of build-up for not the payoff that I was expecting when you've mentioned it over and over and over again, that's the payoff. I want to see Tolly running into her arms. I want to see Tony and Ziva embrace and kiss and hello and how's it going and let's work through some stuff. Everything that Ziva's gone through to then not give us that is just incredibly disappointing.
I will take you through my timeline here because I went through a journey today. At about 5 minutes before the episode, I was extremely confident. I was really all in on this idea that
confident.
They wouldn't have started this storyline unless they already had a plan to bring Michael back, and that they were just all being really quiet about it because they didn't want it to get out.
Yeah.
Then the moment where I saw the video message from Tali, that's when my first oh no, because it was sort of like if you were gonna bring Tali in for the reunion,
if you had her,
you wouldn't just put a video message up on the screen and be like, oh, here's Tali, and Tony is randomly not in this message at all, being like, why don't you talk to mommy, or something like that.
Yeah, not even the voice, it was
Yeah, I know. I don't know, but here's the thing. There's always hope. There's always a chance. I'm not saying I'm incredibly optimistic, but...
The problem is that I think that so many people love Ziva and they love Tony and they loved that dynamic that was on the show. And they loved it for so long that when it was gone, a lot of people did decide that they weren't going to continue on with the show anymore.
Yeah.
I get that. I get it. Then they're like, okay, we're going to make this right. Ziva's not dead.
Yeah.
Aces. Okay, I'm in. You've got me in.
Yeah.
I'm back. I'm coming in. Let's see how it's going.
Yeah.
But to have us go on this journey where it's like, oh, I want to reunite, and now we'll see you later. No reunion. I feel that even if they bring this back at a later date, they've lost the trust.
I think they lost the opportunity. That to me is the biggest thing, is I think it would have created the biggest splash. If it happened, everyone would have the closure. The only thing that I can say, and this is the only thing, is that if they are still trying to milk the very last drops of this story possible, I think if they had the reunion in this episode, then maybe everybody would be like, well... see you later, NCIS, among the Tony and Ziva fans, because they would have their conclusion and maybe they still want them to keep watching.
Okay, but then if they gave the proper reunion and filled everybody's hearts, then maybe they would be ready to give the cast that there is now, which is a great cast. They've come together really well. It is a little bit different, but different's not bad. That they would be able to give this show a chance and get back into it and get into these new characters and enjoy them. Casey is great. Torres is great. Bishop is a lot of fun. There's a lot that's happening with this group that is really entertaining to watch. So I think they missed a huge opportunity to bring these people back. That there'll be people who are like, oh, I'm only watching for Ziva, and if I don't get Ziva, then I don't want anything. Cool. That is all right. Mm-hmm. But there might be people who are like, okay, this was really satisfying. My trust is regained. They did a great job.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll stick around. I'll check out what the rest of the show has.
Yeah, I think it's difficult. And like we said, it's the product of expectations. They never promised us Tony. They never said for sure he was coming. But you still had the story leading up to it.
I feel that there was a promise there.
Okay, see, I don't think they promised.
To me.
Yeah.
It's not, they never said, yes,
literally,
he's coming back.
Of course.
They've never, of course, literally promised.
Yeah.
I just feel that if you're going to introduce this story, and if this is the journey, and it is to take us towards this reunion, you can't mention reunion. Oh, reunion, I need to get back with my family and get back together and reunion, and then there's none. It feels like I was built this promise inside the story and the writing to bring me along this journey that I was fully in to not lead it anywhere. That being said, let's talk about the episode for a second, because there was a couple of seeds that I felt were planted for something that I mentioned a long time ago about the idea that Ziva might or could come back as a part-time agent with this group. Yeah. That is sort of what I was feeling. Now, because obviously Michael can't come back to the show, he has his own show, he's doing his own thing, and that's great. So how are we able then to have Ziva come back as a part-time agent? Reeves' desk is open. Unfortunately, we lost him, but there is still space there. And tonight's episode felt like, almost like an opening of, okay, now we're working on a case that doesn't really have to do necessarily with Ziva. It's not about saving her or bringing her back or any of these things. This is Ziva on a case, back in the bullpen, back with all the desks, back with the old team, back with the new team, working together to find Phineas. So when she was saying her goodbyes and even, hi, nice to meet you, Jack, kind of thing, and all of that, her walking towards the elevator and having that scene where she looked around the office again, I was just like, okay, is she really saying goodbye? Or maybe this is just because I've been living in Ziva, working with them part-time alley for a really long time now, that I thought, I don't know, man. Okay. My hope is dashed.
Well, I'm gonna give you a line from Beauty and the Geek season 5 winner Tommy Severo. When people left my season of Beauty and the Geek, he would say sometimes, "It's not goodbye, it's see you later." And I think this is a see you later. I don't think it, but sometimes when you say see you later to people, that doesn't necessarily mean that they come back. But it means at least that you're hoping that they come back. And I hope that Ziva comes back. I think the door is open for that. I think there's some stuff that could happen with her. I think if it was just sort of like a once or twice a season thing, she could just come back, have a little bit of fun, mix things up with the team. I would obviously love to see her more than that, but it's ultimately going to be dictated by whatever stories they want to tell and how open Cody is to the idea.
Yeah, I just don't know how... The thing is without the reunion, I don't know how you bring her back. Unless it's all just dialogue where it's like, oh yeah, I went to Paris, I met up with Tony, we're good. He's off doing something else, but I'm available to come and help out with whatever. Like that's the only way that I can really see it happening. And I feel like if they had just had the reunion, that idea would have worked. That you then don't have to keep bringing him back. We get the reunion, story closed. What's the next chapter? Oh, Ziva's a part-time agent coming in here or there to help with special cases that need her skills.
I'm going to throw this out here because I just thought of this. What if it was actually planned for this to happen? And maybe something just fell through. I mean, because in the production world that happens. And
absolutely.
Maybe they didn't originally plan for Michael to be in this episode, and then his schedule changed or something like that.
Absolutely.
The truth is, we don't know. But the reality is, at least for NCIS, Ziva is gone for now. It seems like she's off to reunite with Tony, regardless of whether or not we get to see it. Phineas is okay. I mean, he was a big focal point to the episode. I'm happy that is all right and that Gibbs can have a little bit of closure.
Yes.
There were some nice sort of Sloane and Gibbs moments. I know we're too much into a frenzy to base Slipstream a visit at the moment, but...
I am a Slibs shipper. Anybody who's watched these videos, you know that I have a house set up on Slib Street.
Yeah.
And I wasn't really expecting too much with this episode to have any of these moments. But there was actually a lot of them.
Yeah, there was a lot. It felt like they were kind of already, not together, but it felt like they were already kind of like a thing outside of work where they were that close.
It does feel like that, especially when Ziva was mentioning, thanks for taking care of his heart. And she was like, we take care of each other's heart. I'm like, there is so much good stuff here that is happening with Slibs. And it feels like there is something off screen that is happening that they are just not talking about at work.
I think there could be, but welcome
to Slip Street.
Okay, see, I'm not fully residing here just yet because granted, I shouldn't say this on an episode where we all thought we were going to get a reunion and we didn't, but I feel like that's a moment that they would want to show us, and because they have Mark and Maria contractually as obligated to be on the show, they can actually show us that moment. So I feel like we're getting there. I feel like the connection is there. I bought the lot. I just haven't built the house yet. That's where I am right now.
I'll help you build it.
Okay,
It's
all right. Do you want
We'll build it together. But no, there was a lot of moments. They just stand real close to each other's faces a little much for someone who is just coworkers or just friends. I don't have any friends that I will talk to like this. There's no way. That's not a thing. And I don't know many friends that have that kind of relationship unless they're looking to hook up.
Yeah, I mean, I'm blind in one eye and I don't stand that close to people and I can't see anything. So
yeah, I feel like I still say it. I will stand on this box and die on this hill that something happened last Christmas between them. And whether or not they ever talk about it or don't talk about it, or they're together or they're not together, the way that they touch each other and stand that close to each other and all that stuff that's going on, they've been intimate. I'm putting my money on it.
I'm still not there, but
It's all right. I'll bring you.
I give you an A for effort with it. I appreciate your stance on the hill. I'm just on a different hill. I'm also kind of traveling between Slip Street and Ellick Avenue at the moment because also we have the just tell her how you feel sort of moment with Ziva and Torres. And this is one of those sort of things where, like, everyone is standing there. Like, they can obviously kind of sense that Ziva's probably saying something to him.
Yeah.
And so I want a scene where McGee is like, what did Ziva say to you? And, like, he has to make up something on the spot.
Well, the fact that he had a smile on his face when he walked away tells us, of course, and we all know that he's got feelings for her. So, you know, will he say something? Probably not.
Yet.
Not yet. No, and I actually don't even know if it'll happen this season. I feel like maybe this is a show that takes its time.
It does. This is
if you're coming into NCIS and you're hoping for a ship, be ready for a long, slow ride. Well, it is not going to happen right away.
Maybe that's what's going to happen with the reunion of Tony and Ziva. Maybe there isn't any flights available to Paris, and she has to take a boat, like one of those old boats with the sails, like a pirate ship.
That takes 2 months, so by the time the finale comes around, it's like, oh, look, we're having a reunion.
Yeah, and then Ziva's talking like a pirate. Okay, no,
I'm not into that.
I have another that's all my terrible ideas. I'm out of them.
That one might have been the worst.
Yeah, but Pirate Ziva, make it happen. No, okay, we'll tie up this video. We're here for you guys. Let us know your sorrows.
Be here for us.
We will get through this together. We will have a preview coming for the next episode. And if you like this video, despite all the sadness we may feel, give us a like, subscribe, and you can support us by checking the link in the description to the CARTERMATT store. And we will see you here next time.